This is Long Way to the Top, and I'm your host, Shane Bryan. From the shadows of Manchester's post-punk explosion to the neon pulse of the world's dance floors, few musicians have shaped modern music the way that Peter Hook has. As the founding bass player of Joy Division, Hook's distinctive melodic bass lines defined a generation, carrying the raw power of songs like Disorder and Transmission into the history books. When tragedy struck with the loss of Ian Curtis, Hook and his bandmates reinvented themselves as New Order, pioneering a sound that fused rock and electronic music, giving us anthems like Blue Monday, Bizarre Love Triangle, True Faith. Now, with his band The Light, Peter Hook is keeping that history alive and adding brand new chapters. In July 2026, he returns to Australia and New Zealand, performing New Order's Get Ready in full for its 25th anniversary, alongside the timeless catalogues of Joy Division and New Order. On Long Way to the Top, we dive deep into the music, the legacy, the battles, and the brilliance of rock's most enduring figures. Peter Hook, welcome to the show.
It's always nice when a plan comes together.
It is, isn't it? It is.
I was just thinking then, it's a long way to the top. But is it an even longer way to the bottom?
I don't know. Ask AC/DC. They're still doing it, aren't they?
Well, God, yeah. I mean, I did love that thing online. Did you see it where the audience started a poll to try and get them to stop?
I know, right? That's kind of the moment that you go, maybe we should stop. God bless them.
I was just thinking then when punk first hit, I went to see a punk gig at the Academy in Manchester. Yeah. And the Academy's got 3 rooms, small, medium and large. And AC/DC were playing in the medium, I think. Yeah. And the punk band I was watching was in the small. It's 1976.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember them arriving and they all had caftans on.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes.
It was very as a punk, you were very anti that hippie caftan. Yeah. And yeah, played in the medium hall. They played to about 50, 40 people or something.
Yeah.
Really strange, really early CDC.
A friend of mine who used to be the drummer for the Angels, a band in Australia, he was actually at that one of those first gigs over in Manchester when they first hit, and he said that there was I think it was like someone for one of the local music papers loved them so much, went out and just told everybody, and then the next night the audience just doubled. And it just sort of grew.
It's amazing though how you get these things, because I remember being given a tape of Guns N' Roses in America.
Yeah.
Because they were on Warner Brothers, and some guy at Warner Brothers said, "Have a listen to this. You might like it. It's a new band." Yeah. I listened to it. I thought, wow, it's great. Yeah. So anyway, they came to play in England, and they played at a gig called the Apollo in Manchester. And it was one of the only gigs I can remember being at the Apollo where it was just pay on entry.
Yeah, right.
So you could buy tickets before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now I was on the guest list thanks to the guy at Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
So when I went down, what had happened was Kerrang, the magazine, had really jumped on Guns N' Roses. Yeah. Now the actual Apollo held about, I think it's 3,500 people. And the crowd outside was 10,000 plus. Gosh. And it was pay on entry. It was, oh my God, it was mental.
Yeah. Yeah.
So literally everybody trying to get in, for this gig. And I must admit, it was LA Guns and Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
I thought LA Guns were actually better than Guns N' Roses on the night. Yeah. Yeah, so it's quite interesting.
I think they were actually. I think they were a better band actually, like throughout their career. They just, some bands just don't quite make it. Even though they've got the chop.
Play Gun. Yeah. There's one of them. Yeah,
incredible.
It's quite funny watching Peacemaker. Do you watch Peacemaker?
I do. I love it.
It's the way it champions that type of music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was listening to it last week and I thought Hanoi Rocks, and I thought I should know them. Why don't I know them? It's because at that point I'd switched to punk and indie
Yeah.
instead of sticking with the old heavy metal
Yes.
uh, type things. Yeah, but Peacemaker's been great at putting that music on, and he actually features it so well
Yes.
in the series. It really is number two. Are you on number two
I,
yet?
I haven't watched the second episode yet. I'm
Oh, it's
going to do
fantastic.
that over the
Yeah, I mean,
weekend.
it's as good. Well, luckily for me, because I was injured with my shoulder, I've been laid up.
Yeah.
I've not been able to go out, and I thought, you know what, I'll watch one again.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
watched Peacemaker one
Yeah.
up to two, and it was great to see it again.
Yeah.
Really great series.
It's such a great. Well, I think it's really sort of brought the whole TV, series back again, where it was kind of
Mm,
like, I don't know, maybe
I
it's
mean,
a
let's
little bit.
face it, they're rare though, aren't they? To watch one that's a success like that and the way it uses the music,
Yes, yeah,
that is absolutely
absolutely.
it really is clever. So anyway,
Yes,
we
yes,
digress, mate. There
we
we go.
do, we do. Firstly, super excited that you're heading back to Australia. How many times has this been since you've been to Australia?
Hey, this is in it's a lot. We first
Yeah,
played in
yeah,
1982. Viv Leeds brought us over.
yes,
Viv Leeds, and we went on to do Big Day Out.
yes.
He did our first tour. I think we were one of his first foreign bands actually, and we must have been back. You see, the thing was is that in 1982, playing in England
Yeah,
was very male. It was also very aggressive. There was a lot of football kind of violence at the gigs. It seemed to, it wasn't the nicest thing you could do. So when we got to Australia and saw how wonderful the audiences were and how different vibe, it was like, wow, what this is, wow.
we
I
loved
mean,
it.
we
We
actually
loved
literally,
it.
yeah, I mean, it was much more balanced, men and women, which was great. 50-50 almost. And it was the same when we got to America. When we got to America, we found that the audiences were much more in for a good time, if you like, than when you got back to England.
Yeah.
It was like the grim reality of England and English audiences at that point.
Which
It
was
wasn't.
odd, really, because 82 in England was very much the new wave phenomenon sort of coming through. Punk was, dare I say, dying out. And
Well, I mean, it had gone into post punk.
yeah, yeah,
So it was a completely different feel. I mean, everything had changed and it had been swallowed up, to be honest.
mhm,
But yeah, I mean, it was such a change in audience dynamics
yeah,
to
yeah.
get there. I remember playing Selena's right in Sydney, and it had been open since 6 o'clock. And I said to the guy, I said, "What time do you want us on stage?" And he went, "Oh, about 11." And I went, 11? And it's been open since 6. And when we went on, of course, everybody was arseholed. And it was just a fan. We were like, my God, is this what gigging can be like? It's like, wow, it was amazing. Yeah, so it's been easy. And it always has been wonderful to go over to Australia and be part of that. And I must admit that if there's anything we do have to thank, it probably Triple J
Yeah,
for
yeah,
their continuing support of
yeah,
us right throughout our career. Always made it easy to get to New Zealand, easy to get to Australia, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time doing it.
yeah, yeah. They really have. They really.
It feels very much like coming home. I mean,
Yeah,
and weirdly, with Peter Hook and the Light, thanks to Red Ant,
yeah,
Red Ant brought us over. They booked us. We'd only played 2 gigs
mm,
when Red Ant booked us to come to Australia to play Joy Division. So when we got to Australia, it was our 7th gig
yeah. Right.
in
Wow.
Melbourne. So he took a chance on us very early on, and it has paid off, and it's just a pleasure to do it.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure.
I love with Peter Hook and the Light that you find an album that you focus on, because of an anniversary or whatever. And this time around, it's Get Ready. And do you find that doing the album in its entirety is what the fans really sort of like love and eat up?
You see, the thing is that we don't know that, do we?
Mm.
We'd have to do a straw poll on the night. Do you want us to just play the hits or the band? You know, you just go,
Yeah.
it's a bit the old Rolling Stone syndrome, isn't
But
it?
you do throw the hits in though too.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that I am amazingly proud of everything that we've done.
Yeah.
I'm not amazingly proud of the way we've acted ourselves, but I think as a group we've had some fantastic moments.
Yeah.
And the thing is that every LP I've listened to so far,
Yeah.
from Unknown Pleasures through Closer to Movement, Power, Corruption, and Lies, I've found that playing it live with the right amount of enthusiasm
Yes.
has made them all sound extra special. Now, I mean, if I started playing an LP and it didn't, then I'd be the first to go, this ain't gonna work, you know. So that's a quite simple thing for me. But every single one of them, and even the ones that were difficult, I was doing an interview about Technique yesterday because they're doing the box set of Technique.
Yes.
And the guy was saying to me, do you remember much about making it? And I was thinking, shit, no, I don't. Because we hated each other so much.
Yes.
We were never in the studio together. The songs were written before we got to the studio.
Yeah.
But when we got to Ibiza, we just fucked about for 3 months.
Yeah.
We were just off our heads for 3 months. We hardly did anything. Then we ended up back with Peter Gabriel's studio in Bath. And I don't really remember that. Right. So, yeah, I mean, we were very, very fragmented. We weren't very together in what we were doing. And it was amazing that the album got finished. So I remember that with Technique. Playing Technique, which was my favorite album, was easy. It was fantastic. When we got to Republic, which I've always said it was my worst. I always thought it was our worst.
Yeah, it's my favorite
record.
It's my favorite.
Right, that's fine. And I always felt that New Order finished with regret. Yeah. Right? Because it was very much Bernard's style of writing that came to the fore, and it was a very, very difficult album to make. But when we started playing it and were able to do what every group does with a recorded song, is go, that bit's a bit long. For live, it'd be better. This bit would be better doubled, and you could do with another chorus and things like that. You know, they're things you do naturally when you come to transcribe them for live. So to do that and then be able to bring out the production aspect of it, because the thing is that I can't sound like Joy Division, and I wouldn't ever try, because Joy Division were completely different live to how they were on record. Yeah. New Order were a little bit more like they were on record, but they still had something live that you can't copy. And I think in a way you're cheating the fans by pretending to be something that you're not. Yes. When I listen to New Order now, they do not sound like New Order. And I think there's an aspect that I wouldn't like to be part of because of that, which is obviously why I'm not part of it.
But I think though that you'd say, oh, this album wasn't my favorite and this album was my favorite. I think for the listener, the albums become favorite according to what is actually going on in their life at the time. You know,
yes, absolutely.
I can listen to Blue Monday.
As long as you treat every song with the right amount of respect, then you're okay with what you're doing. What happened to me after all that spiel about Republic? Oh, it was awful to make. We lost the Hacienda, we lost Factory. It was so sad. When we came to play it, it became one of my favorites. Yeah. And I was like, oh, God, you idiot. And it was weird because it was the same thing with Brotherhood. Yeah. Brotherhood has got the rocky side, which I always loved. Yeah. And it's got the synth side, which I always hated because it was the one we always fought over.
Yeah.
There's too much bass on this. Can you turn the bass down? You know, and all this crap.
Yeah.
And then when we got there and played it, I thought, oh, shit, I love this. So your taste actually changes. Yeah. And to be honest with you, transcribing every LP has been a great pleasure.
Yeah.
And transcribing Get Ready for this one has been wonderful because, again, there was that shadow over it in that Barney and I got together. The record was very much me and him right the way through. And then at the end of it, we sort of reverted back to type.
Yeah.
and it was like the honeymoon was over at the end of it. So by the time we got to gigging, we were at each other's throats again, and it just hadn't worked.
Yeah.
So the thing is that shadow now, through playing it, is gone. Just like the shadow on Republic is gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's great. I get these songs back every time I get there to play them. And the interesting thing about Get Ready that I noticed was that New Order hardly played any of it.
Right.
I think it became a bit of a bone of contention with Steve.
He left
because when Steve came back, and we sort of felt that we shouldn't play it. I think Barney and I were a little bit embarrassed because he wasn't a big part of it.
Yeah.
So it was a bit weird. So we sort of dumped it quietly. So a lot of the songs on it have never been played. And I do think, I mean, and they're there for people to listen to now, that we've made a great job of transcribing it. And it actually works really well as an intro to the best of Joy Division and then the best of New Order. And because we can play so many of them, it means that those two sets are very varied.
Yes.
So we change loads of them each night. You know, it's
listening back to some of the live videos that you've put on YouTube, for example, you can hear the difference between the original and what you're doing now. And you know, I guess that's going to happen with every transcribing of an album, isn't it? It's going to take on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my job, which I'm delighted with, is to make it sound like New Order.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I want to do, because I love New Order's sound so much.
Yes.
That it's easy for me to bring out the aspects of it. And having two bass players, I suppose I get the my my double bass,
double barrel.
So, you know, so it's there is that aspect of it that there's no one to tell me to turn down, and there's no one to say, do we need to have bass on this bit? Fuck off.
The funny thing was though that Joy Division, like when you listen back, Joy Division was the one that really had the defined bass lines, right? Whereas New Order was leading into the synths and electronics.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they do say that the reason drum machines were invented was so that the lead singer doesn't have to talk to the drummer. And then, of course, swiftly followed by the bass sequencer, so that he doesn't have to talk to the bass player. And then you spend most of your time watching the lead singer put it all together. And then when he's got it all together to his taste, he turns around and tells you that there's no room for you. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, I mean, it's a funny old world, man.
It is,
isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Look, I want to go back to that very first Sex Pistols gig in 1976. Okay, what was it about that night that made you and your mates decide we need to start a band?
Well, I mean, it was Burn and Die, actually. It was Barney and I that went that night with our friend from school, Terry Mason, who became our tour manager. So what happened was the support band were called Solstice, and they did a 25-minute version of Nantucket Sleigh Ride. So we were sat there listening to a great LP, Nantucket Sleigh Ride, fantastic, by Mountain. So we listened to that, and the Solstice were exactly just like all the other heavy metal bands that we'd been to see. I think I'd been to see Led Zeppelin, I'd been to see Deep Purple, you name them. I'd been to see Santana, I'd been to see a lot of those bands. Never felt inspired. Yeah, as if to say, well, hey, I just a revelation. I could do that. You can imagine Jimmy Page, he'd be looking at you like that, wouldn't he? Fucking can't.
Come on.
you fucking can't. And then to watch the Sex Pistols, that seemed to consist mainly of Johnny Rotten telling us all to fuck off. And this horrendous sound that was very young, feedback led. Yeah. It was just like, it was so different to those kids playing Mountain that it made you think you could do it. Yeah. And I said to Barney, I said, we should form a band. And he was like, yeah, because he was as flabbergasted by the Sex Pistols as I was. So, yeah, and once you formed the band, it literally has never left my side. It became a full 24-hour job from that moment onwards.
Yeah.
And I've never really had a break from being in a band. I've had a break from being in a band, but then I became a DJ, which was bloody worse and harder work than being in a bloody band. And you had no one to share it with. So the thing is that I've never had a break really from music.
Yeah.
I've always done something to do with music because of that gig. I mean, it was funny. We just did a gig with Johnny Rotten, and there's a big punk festival here in Blackpool in England called Rebellion, and we've done it a few times. The first time we did it, we were very small, and now we headline the big room, which is fantastic. So, and it always struck me at this festival that none of them would be there if it wasn't for the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
So we got the booking this year, and I said to the band, I said, listen, I want to play Anarchy in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Because that is the song that brought all of us here to this point. I didn't bloody know Pill were on after us.
Did they? Oh, no.
Oh, so, and my manager said to me, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I want to fucking play it. I wanted to play it before I knew Pill were on.
Yeah.
So he said, well, do you want me to ask him? And I went, shit, if you ask him, what if he says he doesn't want you to do it? Because he's pretty anti the Sex Pistols, isn't he?
Yeah.
I thought, right, I won't ask. I thought I'll just fucking do it. Bollocks to. So anyway, we get there, turn up. I walk through the door. Who do I bang into straight away? Straight away. Fucking face, Johnny Rotten. I was like, fuck. Felt so guilty. I felt like a schoolboy, with the headmaster. So anyway, we went on, we played it. I got my wish to play it. It went down fucking amazingly. Everybody loved it. Even all the Pill crew came running out to watch. And, it was just fucking great. And I said it was a love song. I said, this is a love song.
This is a love song, just like the album.
This is a love song for that man who turned me into what I am, whatever I am. Yeah. Thank you, Johnny Rotten. I love you. Yeah. And afterwards, I went in the dressing room and I got me fags and I thought I'll go out and have a cigarette. And who did I fucking bang into again? Fucking Johnny Rotten. I was like, oh, you fucking, that's right, that bang. He went, and I went, just like, oh my God. I did not know what to fucking say. I was just like that. Luckily for me, he was just, and then the guy took him off to play. I was like, oh, fuck.
I'm sure that was him saying that he loved it.
And I hope so. Yes, yeah. But I mean, it's true, without him, I just wouldn't be there. And it's mad because whenever I say Glenn Matlock, I see Glenn Matlock quite a lot on the festival circuit. And, I always say to him, I said, it's all your fault. This is all your fault, this.
Was
I blame you entirely.
Was Glenn at that gig or had he gone?
No, good God, no. They're at Daggers Drawn, aren't they, the Sex Pistols, with Johnny Rotten. So that's, But anyway, there you go. I got away with it.
Yeah.
I live to fight another day.
Who came up with the name? Now, this is very punk. Who came up with the Joy Division name? Because it's actually about now I've got to get this right. A neo-Nazi camp where there's a sex dungeon that was called Joy Division out of Valley of the Dolls. Yeah.
It's full of Jewish women. Ian was reading the book The House of Dolls.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever read it. It's quite a harrowing.
It's pretty heavy, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. And he saw the name in it because it was the oppressed. And he took it a sign of the Joy Division were the women that were oppressed.
Yes. Yeah.
The Nazi officers. So he took it on that thing. I mean, the press turned it round and made it sound as if we were glorifying. But I mean, God, punks in those days, it was ridiculous. None of us thought past the end of our nose, did they? No. I mean, if you look at with Jordan, with the Sex Pistols and the way that we all sort of glorified the look, it was a contradiction in terms of the attitude of the band. So, that was where Joy Division came from. And the book is still available.
Yes.
I read it not long ago, actually.
It's pretty heavy duty.
I
think I've read it a few years back. It's
I mean, I think it was because I read The Tattooist of Auschwitz
Oh yeah,
book,
yeah,
which is the same thing. And then I read that after it. I found it in my Joy Division cache, if
yes,
you like. I thought, you know what, I'm going to read it again. Yeah. And yeah, the name is in it. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, a name, very difficult
yeah. And
for a group.
I mean, you've gone through that. You've gone through Joy Division. Then there was the tragedy with Ian. How difficult was it to start again with New Order at that time?
Do you know what? It was a very easy decision to make. And we'd been to the inquest
Yeah,
in Macclesfield of Ian's death,
yeah,
and his wife's family were very vociferous in their damning of the group and also Ian himself
yeah,
um, at the inquest. It was not pleasant, and it certainly wasn't nice to be there. But afterwards, we went for a meal afterwards in a pub. I can still remember the pub. It's still there in Macclesfield. And Gillian was with us, and we were sat there eating. Everyone was very quiet. And Rob said, what are you lads going to do now? And we were like, no idea.
mm,
And he said, well, do you want to go back to work, or do you want to have another go at being in a group?
mm,
So literally all three of us said, well, yeah, let's have another go.
mm, mm.
And he said, all right. Then he said, when are you going to start? So I turned to Barney and Steve and I said, well, do you want to start on Monday at the practice place?
Yeah,
And they said, yeah.
yeah,
And I went home that weekend. I think the inquest was on a Friday. And I went home that weekend, and I remember going in the spare bedroom at my house, my little tiny house in Moston in Manchester, and writing Dreams Never End
yes,
on the bass guitar. And when we went in on Monday morning, I said, oh, I've got a riff. And it was the first song that we worked on as New Order was Dreams Never End. So yeah, it was quite an easy decision to make. It
yeah.
was difficult from then on.
Were you surprised with the success of New Order? The reason I ask this is because there's not a lot of bands where after the death of their lead singer that they continue on, successfully. You could say Queen, yeah, they're kind of always
Mm.
still there. In excess, I mean, it just
Yeah.
didn't.
The weird thing was is that we managed to pull off New Order because we buried Joy Division
Yeah,
with Ian. That was why. If we'd have carried on playing Joy Division songs, I think it would have been a different story. The fact that we ignored Joy Division from that moment until I dug it up in 2010 and said, you know what? I'm not ignoring this wonderful band anymore. I'm going to play the music. And that was 30 years later. And I still got accused of cashing in,
yeah.
even though I'd waited 30 bloody years, which was absolutely fucking ridiculous. Mainly by Barney and Steve.
That's yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
That's right.
God. Yeah. So the thing is that because we concentrated on New Order with as much zeal as we had Joy Division,
Yeah,
and we were also able to make use of the fantastic amount of money that Joy Division earned with their demise, which was nuts, to equip New Order for the next sound phase.
yeah,
So Joy Division's money paid for all those synthesizers, all those drum machines. It paid for us to go on a wage, so we didn't have to go back to work,
yeah.
so we could still be a full-time band. And it also paid for the bloody Hacienda Joy Division because New Order had no money at that point. We didn't even have a record out when the
No,
job
and
when that.
and we will come to Blue Monday in a minute because there's an interesting story about that. But I've got a few quick fire questions for you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is harder to keep in time, your bass or New Order?
Harder to keep in time. Well, luckily for me, my the first guitarist I played with in the light was called Nat, and he was a lovely guy. He was out of a Manchester band, And he said to me, he said, "You've got a very peculiar way of playing hooky." He said, "You actually play before the beat, and everybody has to try and keep up with you."
I love it.
And I'd never analyzed it,
Yeah.
but I do. So they've got to keep up with me. So that
Yep,
was the
yep.
easy answer to that
That's a
one.
good answer. So
New Order. I'm afraid we had a weak link in New Order that used to let us down from a rhythm point of view. And it was mainly missing Ian Curtis. You know, we could have had 10 people in the band and we still would have been wobbly.
Yeah.
You know, nobody could replace Ian Curtis. And whilst you know, we had a great me, Barney, and Steve could write songs and proved it by writing songs right until the end of New Order before they became New Order. So the thing is that yeah, you know, the backbone was there.
Yeah.
It was just easier when Ian was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we managed to do it again with New Order. We managed to do it. It was just more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, who had the worst haircut in the 80s? You, Bernard, or the entire Pet Shop Boys fan club?
Well, the problem with haircuts when you're in a group is that they are there forever
Yeah.
to be looked at every time you Google something or with it. But we had our moments. I remember going home once in Joy Division, and we'd been in a pub in Piccadilly in Manchester,
Yeah.
and we're all sat there, and we went, "We need a gimmick. We need a gimmick. Why don't we all dye our hair blonde?" And everyone went, "Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll get that Born Blonde from Boots." Is what it was called. And we all went out, bought Born Blonde, turned up on Monday, and guess who was the only one who dyed his hair?
You.
Me. Yeah. The other three were laughing their bollocks off at me. Absolutely, you bloody idiot. You know, it was a great joke. So the thing is that we then went through a skinhead phase in Joy Division where Rob shaved everybody's head,
Yeah.
which was kind of fun, that one. And then I grew mine, obviously, and went completely rock and roll when everyone used to say to me, "You look like you're in the wrong band. You look like you be in Motley Crue and not New Order." You know, you do look, well, there was many a truth to that. Worst haircut, probably I'd have to go. Steve's never changed his haircut. He's always had preppy kind of middle class university funny haircut. He shaved his head though in Joy Division.
Oh, right. And it's
Yeah, we all shaved
it grew back preppy again.
Yeah, it grew back preppy. I think it was stuck like that. I mean, Steve, he always used to make me laugh because his mum used to buy him all these clothes.
Yeah.
So he was always dressed like a geography teacher. So obviously his mum must have done his hair, you know, like spitting on your hand and putting the thing over. Yeah. So I'd go Steve for the weirdest haircuts.
Okay. Okay. Now, this is a bit of a trick question. If Blue Monday bought you a pint every time it was played, how drunk would you be right now?
I would be dead.
You would be dead, except you would actually be the one buying the pint, right?
Well, that's true. Yeah, I'd be dead and skinned.
Yeah, right.
That's
tell us
tricky
that story, because I heard you say that Blue Monday cost you 10p every time it sold.
Well, I wish it was 10p. It was actually 50p.
No.
And the reason it lost money was because the sleeves,
Yes.
when we presented Peter Saville with the disc that you used to load sounds into the emulator, which was a mini disc, not a mini disc, it was called a floppy disk.
Yep.
He loved the floppy disk. He said, it's actually square. It's like a record cover. Look at it. It's like a record cover. And you use this for your sounds? We were going, yeah. Each floppy disk has got a sound on. You load it in, you get your fart, or you get your thunderclap, or you get your whatever, you know, on each one. And he went, oh, that's fascinating. So anyway, that's when he went off and got the idea to copy the format for the floppy disk for the sleeve for Blue Monday. Now, the problem is that the floppy disk, if you remember, had 3 holes cut in it.
Yep.
3 holes. So they had to price up how much it cost for these 3 holes. So the 3 holes had to be die cut.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do the 3 together because they had to reset the machine each time. So it meant that each sleeve went in the machine 3 times to be die cut. And that was one sleeve.
Yeah.
And Factory didn't do the maths about the costs of it until it was a hit. And when Tony had the brass die-cast thing made to celebrate 500,000 copies of Blue Monday being sold, they hadn't done the maths. And when they did the maths, they realized that the cost of the sleeve, once you'd sold the record, there was a 50p discrepancy.
Oh, no.
So every record you sold of Blue Monday you were losing 50p.
Hang
so
on, you sold how many did you sell? 500,000
It's still the biggest selling 12-inch of all time. I mean, they solved it because the next sleeve was a picture of the die-cast sleeve.
Yes.
You know, and Warner's actually did it again, didn't they, to celebrate?
They did. So now you're done. Yeah, now okay.
Now you can have the proper sleeve again because it's cheaper to do. Yeah, so Peter Saville hates that story.
Yeah.
Because he always says it's not true. But I know it's true because the accountants at Factory told me.
Yeah,
and it was because the sleeve cost so much to do. But yeah, I mean, you know, we were full of tricks like that.
Yeah, yeah.
We were idiots.
Yeah.
We really were. And for Tony to go to all the length of having a brass statue cast to celebrate the fact that we'd lost 50,000 quid, we actually thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, we did have a sort of hangman's humor about everything that we did. And it was like with the Hacienda, you know, we would laugh about the Hacienda, how much we were losing in it. And it's like my accountant said to me, he said, well, the only time it'll ever really bother you is when you've got no money.
Yeah.
So he said, so you better get working.
Yeah, that's good.
Because it's really going to bother you. So it was one of those things. So, yeah, I mean, over the years, we have found a lot to laugh at, especially ourselves. And I think that was actually quite a healthy, it made the record company unique, and it actually made the group unique.
Yeah.
You know, the way that the interviews were done and the way that we didn't do interviews at the start, because Rob said to us, do you want to do interviews? And we said, no, because all I want to talk about is Joy Division and Ian's death. So he said, all right, we won't do them then. You know, most managers wouldn't have allowed you to do that. Tony Wilson had such an anarchic attitude to running a record company, which we actually liked.
Yeah.
Well, he never got involved. He said the only time he ever got involved in music was when we were recording Unknown Pleasures, and he brought a Frank Sinatra LP, which he gave to Ian.
Yes.
Ian went and played it in the studio, and he actually ripped it off for a song. He ripped off We Are Strangers, which is on Unknown Pleasures. Yeah. He ripped that off the Frank Sinatra LP, Strangers in the Night.
Yeah, I've never even thought of that. Never even thought of that until...
Because for some reason, Tony thought that it'd be good for Ian to listen to Frank Sinatra. Whilst he didn't get much off Frank Sinatra, he did manage to rip Strangers in the Night off. Or I Remember Nothing. So... yeah, you know, these things, because he didn't have a video. We had the song, I Remember Nothing, but there was no vocal on it.
Yes. Yes.
So he ripped off Strangers in the Night for the vocal for I Remember Nothing, which was it.
I think, you know, like you've done this incredible job with Peter Hook and the Light. If Ian Curtis walked in right now, saw you playing, what's the first thing you'd think he'd say?
My God, do you know what? I would give everything for that to happen.
Yeah.
Everything. So it's a very unusual thing. I mean, I think that I would imagine that he would like, because Ian was always he was always the one that fluffed you up. Whenever you started to get down, can't get any gigs, nobody likes us, he'd go, no, we are fantastic. We are going to go around the world. Everybody is going to love Joy Division. You just stick to it. And he was always the one that would literally be grabbing you by the lapels and going, you can do it, which was so ironic in the way that we couldn't do that for him. but he did it for us. So when he used to sit me down and tell me all the places that we were going to play in, that we never made it to as Joy Division, whenever I get there, I always think, Mongolia, this is for you, Ian.
Yeah.
China, this is for you, Ian. Russia, this is for you, Ian. And that's before you even get to South America.
Yeah.
America itself, everywhere I go and play Joy Division is for Ian Curtis. Yeah. And I hope that he appreciates that, because he told me that I was going to get there. Wow. And he was right.
Oh, you know? I'm sure he does. I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite weird because, I do know where Ian is, which is nice. Yeah. So I can go and visit him whenever I like. I can go and see him, which is a nice thing to know. It's not public, but I do know where he is. Yeah. So it's good. It's a nice thing to know.
Well, I think it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and I love that you've kept the spirit of Joy Division alive.
You know what, mate? It's been dead easy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Those songs are so easy and so satisfying to play, Joy Division, compared to New Order, which are great songs, but are not easy to play. Joy Division were a unique band, absolutely unique. And the older I get, the more I realize that. Because it's very unusual to find a perfectly balanced band.
Yeah.
Nobody writes more than anybody else. And all the inspiration is shared between the whole thing. It really is a pleasure to do it. And that's what I love about, the boys from Monaco and my son. When we play, I get that feeling that I got the first time we played.
Yeah.
It's that you fucking mean it.
Yeah.
And that was the most important thing in the world. We're doing this because our lives depend on it.
Yeah.
That was the feeling that I had at the start. And I'm very lucky that I still get that feeling now, which is wonderful. It really is.
Been an absolute pleasure, mate. I really appreciate this chat. And
thank you. It was the same here.
And look, I will put all the dates for the
thank you.
Those in the.
Well, if you do make it, come and say hello.
Yes. Well, I'm in Tasmania,
nice.
So I'm all the way.
You can give me the thumb or the thumb.
Yeah. So I'm down in Tassie, so I'll probably have to fly across the ditch to see.
You know what? I love that gig we did in Tasmania. I wish we could get back there.
Oh, so do I.
That casino.
Still got a year to go. You can make it happen.
Yeah, no, I don't know why, but it must be some reason, because it was that casino, wasn't it, that did the gigs?
West Point Casino.
Great stage. Great. That wonderful, weird wooden stage on the levels. Yeah. It was absolutely, it was wild. Because I remember watching it, and the week after, it was Susie Quattro.
Yes.
The week after we were there. But yeah, really, really wonderful place to visit, Tasmania. It's fantastic.
Visit again.
Stars like it, mate. You're very lucky.
Yeah. Thank you.
You take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Long Way to the Top. Hit plus or follow to subscribe to the podcast, and head over to Facebook at The Long Way to the Top Podcast and give us a like. Keep on rocking, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Long Way to the Top.